Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Multi-Voice Entertainment. I'm the Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, after I did that whole from public domain to mockbuster, I decided to review something I haven't reviewed in a long time, and this one involves a comic book. And since I haven't been reviewing graphic novel comic books in a while, I decided what the hell. I want to talk about one of the most DC characters in the world, and that's why I'm wearing a Superman shirt because it represents DC. And one question I would like to ask you: what would you get if you mix Flash Gordon with John Carter? Well, what do you get between those two? All you get is Adam Strange. Yeah, I still have this little figurine of him for a while. And of course, this is what Adam Strange looked like from the 2000s, but what he really looks like back in the beginning, how he was created, he looked more like this. That's what Adam Strange looked like from the beginning. And I would say that Adam Strange is like he's like the Space Ranger of the DC universe. And not to be confused with the Space Ranger named Richard Starr Space Ranger from the DC Comics, which he was there during the Golden Age, and then all of a sudden he gets forgotten and then makes a brief appearance in some of the DC Comics and even cartoons, and then not many people know about it. And one thing I gotta say, I usually don't talk about people who created the character, so this is the first time I decided to talk about this character. Adam Strange was created by a certain comic book writer who goes by the name of Gardner Fox. Gardner Fox, who has a thing for science fiction stories, and you know, that's one thing I wanted to tell you folks. When it comes to graphic novels and comic books, I mean, I do enjoy superhero comic books, but I just have a soft spot for science fiction space hero comics. I like to read comic books involving space heroes. And of course, one thing that Gardner Fox, he had Adam Strange appeared in this issue called Showcase Adventure in Other Worlds back in 1995. I mean, 1959. 59. Yeah, he started back in 1959. Now, how does the story goes? Well, it's quite simple. Adam Strange started out as an archaeologist. He explored the jungles, and he was going into a forbidden temple that the natives was trying to keep him away from until they started to throw spheres at him. And then from out of nowhere, out comes this Zeta beam, and the Zeta beam took him all the way to another planet, which the planet is called Planet Rann. And while he was in that planet, he meets their scientist who goes by the name of Zardath, who is a Rannon's leading scientist. And he also told Adam Strange that the Zeta beam was actually meant to be an intergalactic telephone to communicate to Earth, but instead it became a teleporter. And he cannot control the Zeta beam because it always keeps going around picking up people at random. And of course, at first, Adam Strange wanted to go back home until he found something that he fell in love with. He met Alana, who is the daughter of Zardath. So, he decided to stay at the planet Rann and become their planet's guardian and defender. I mean, he becomes a space hero in the DC Comics in the planet Rann, and he marries Alana, and also has a daughter named Aaliyah. So I would say that his origin is a lot like the John Carter, where John Carter ended up on Mars, falls in love with a princess, and also have a son. Adam Strange, he ended up in the planet Rann, falls in love with the scientist's daughter, and he has his own daughter. And then one of the editor of the DC Comics, named Julia Schwartz, seemed to like Adam Strange so much he decided to make his Adam Strange legacy more like Flash Gordon. And that's where the Flash Gordon part comes up. Oh, and a little known fact. Did you know that the DC Comics did had ownership to Flash Gordon back then? And that was during the time before they made that movie back in 1980. But sadly, the ownership was short-lived. Go figure, huh? And there were hints saying that they did do a comic book where Adam Strange did cross over to Flash Gordon one time. But I don't know if that's a rumor or what. And for those of you who wants to know about, if any of you are interested in Adam Strange, there was a YouTuber. If you look up on YouTuber and type in Mystery in Space, created by a certain YouTuber who goes by the name of Tronny, he just took the comic book and made a 3-parter origin story of Adam Strange. And I know that most of the voice actors sounds kind of robotic, but that's what he used in the series before that whole AI stuff started, where people are now using AIs as voice actors. But it's mostly based from the Adam Strange Omnibus, which you guys should look it up, buy one, and read his adventures in the old classic 50s, 60s, and probably 70s. Now, believe it or not, there is also, Adam Strange made a lot of appearances in the cartoons. He had a brief appearance in the Justice League Unlimited, or they just made an action figure of him without anybody knowing who he is. And then he had an appearance in Batman Brave and the Bold with the classic look. And then they had Adam Strange appeared in Young Justice with this look. I don't know why they gave him a hood. That's just not exactly spacey. Until they were able to make an animated short that you can find in the DVD of the Justice League Dark Doom, where Darkseid takes over Earth and everything, which a lot of people say that was the Infinity War and Endgame of the DC animated universe. Until I heard that they gave Adam Strange an appearance in the part 3 of Crisis on Infinite Earth, that animated movie. Until when they made the series of Krypton, they had Adam Strange played by Sean Shapas. I think I got his last name right. I couldn't. Which is kind of interesting that in Krypton, he ends up on the planet Krypton and meets Superman's grandfather and telling him that his grandson's going to be the biggest superhero in history. That even though Krypton will be destroyed, but his son protects another planet, which is Earth. And that's where Adam Strange is from. But, of course, one thing I want you to know, what I have here in my hand is, of course, the deluxe edition of Adam Strange. Now, the one I'm going to be reviewing right now is the one called Planet Heist. Because I would review all the other stories in this book, but I had to be honest with you guys. The first story was confusing. The third story involves Adam Strange kidnapping the Justice League. I did not like that. I thought it was stupid. But the last story, which is Planet Heist, was very, very good. So let's dig into an Adam Strange Planet Heist, and I'll tell you why that story is a lot better than the rest of the stories in this book. Shall we? Now, in the beginning on planet Earth, where it started, Adam Strange was in the office talking to some guy, kept telling him that he was from the planet Rann, and the guy kept patronizing him, calling him a space ranger. No, he's not a space ranger. Richard Starr is. Which a lot of people know that Richard Starr was based out of Isaac Asimov's David Starr Space Ranger. Food for thought. But he kept trying to tell him that Planet Rann does exist. Why don't you contact the people from the Justice League? And he's like, sit down. And he was getting sick and tired of this guy giving him a hard time. And he had a bit of a flashback where the Zeta Beam picked him up, went to the planet Rann, meet Xandarth, and meet that beautiful woman, Alana, and fell in love with her and married her, had a daughter, and then all of a sudden the Zeta Beam just showed up and picked him up and took him back to planet Earth, and he kept hoping that he would go back to Rann. And of course, this officer was being patronizing, treating him like he's an insane lunatic. And back on his story, now this one got really interesting. I mean, in his flashback, he did wore the old-fashioned outfit ever since the 1959's original classic look, but he changed it to this look, or this look that I'm going to show it in the screen. And to my opinion, I like this look of Adam Strange. I mean, I like this look of Adam Strange because when I look at that look, that definitely screams out spaceman or space ranger. I just like that look so much. Much better than the classic look. But anyway, after he was done with that detective, he went back to his apartment, and from out of nowhere, Superman showed up. And of course, Adam welcomed Superman in, and he also called him by his alien name, Kal. And Superman, he was trying, Adam was kind of telling him, any luck, anything good? I mean, I'm sure everything, surely you found the planet Rann and all, but Superman told Adam that he couldn't find planet Rann, and he thinks that planet went supernova, which that really upset Adam very much. So he looked at the picture of his daughter and his wife in the planet Rann. And then that same detective who patronizing him, he started asking him some questions and all, and another detective tracked him down, and they were thinking about taking Adam Strange to Arkham Asylum. Oh, and a little known fact, one thing I also heard in the comics, that Adam Strange, he's a lot smarter than Batman. You may argue with me on that one, but it turns out that he's a lot smarter than Batman, because of him being in the planet Rann, and also being the protector and a soldier in Rann. He starts noticing the intellect of that planet, so therefore it made him 10 times smarter than Batman. But of course he knows that they're going to take him to Krypton, so Adam decided to make his escape. They handcuffed him, about ready to take him to the car, but he got out of the handcuff and head-butted those two together. And then when he was trying to make a run for it, there is this bright light. He thought it was the Zeta Beam, ready to go back home, but turns out those two detectives were aliens in disguise. And for those of you who wants to know what kind of species those aliens are, they are actually those aliens are actually spider grid. Spider grid. They're like spider-like aliens. Hard to say if they are good or bad, but they are kind of villainous. And two of those aliens, they wanted to get rid of Adam Strange, and they were the ones who making Superman think that the planet went supernova. They're trying to make it into a cover-up so nobody don't even know about Rann. So, and they kept calling him Crazy Monkey, but he'll show you, Crazy Monkey. So, he tackled that one alien, and of course they had jetpacks, so he unhooked the belt on the jetpacks, and one just fell to his grave while he hang on to the jetpack trying to fasten it to his back, and he grabbed two of the phasers from them when he was about ready to crash into a building, and the other one with the big armor about ready to attack him. He's still battling that one with the big armor until the whole struggle, they finally landed on top of one of the buildings. And he also dodged one of their missiles and let the missiles aim at the one in the armor. And the one in the armor said, "Oh, nuts." So he pulled that alien out of his armor, and that creature said that his legs are trapped. He can't get out of the suit because the suit is about ready to explode. So he rewire his jetpack and force him to go up into space until it exploded. So now he went back to his apartment, grabbed a picture of his wife and his daughter, and then he suited up back into his armor, and when the police officers was about ready to break into his apartment, he flew out of here and also disarmed them by shooting his laser at their guns. So now he finally got out of Earth, but he grabbed this orb, which it turns out this orb has some equipment that create a zeta beam, so now he can no longer wait for the zeta beam to pick him up. He can just rewire the device so it can take him back to Rann. So now he went up into space, got the device going, and then zoom. He went to the other quadrant in space, but he's not in planet Rann yet. Now he grabbed the orb, but he needs to find to get himself out of here. And then all of a sudden, he woke up. He thought he was in the planet Rann. He sees his wife, Elena, waking him up, and there's his daughter, Aaliyah. And he was taking his daughter outside. And then all of a sudden, there's a big sun getting close to the planet Rann, going supernova. He tried to protect his daughter, got burned alive, but it was a dream. It was just a dream that he was having a vision about what's going to happen to the planet Rann. So, all of a sudden, he gets picked up by a ship that is owned by, it was a, Thangarden. The Rann-Thanager ship. Now, for those of you who don't know who the Rann-Thanager are, that's what Hawkman and Hawkgirl is. They're aliens with hawk-like wings on their backs. But of course, Hawkman and Hawkgirl isn't in the story, so don't think that Adam Strange is going to bump into them. But one of the Thangars is Sherry Volker. She showed up and picked up Adam Strange. And they tried to scan him and discovered that his armor is from Rann, but his whole entire body is human. So he was trying to find locations to get to the planet Rann, but She-Ra heard a message from her leader telling her to grab that Earthling and execute him. for trying to be a part of the planet Rann. And when Adam overheard the news, he took down two of the Thangar's men who's trying to take him down, trying to make his escape, until She-Ra pinned him down. And they decided for his execution. Because I guess the Thangars don't like the Rannians. So, since he's in league with the Rannians, he should be executed. I hate alien species who has a bug up their ass about other alien species who are very peaceful and intelligent. Ugh. But anyway, they set him to execution and have him beheaded. And he started teasing and taunting the executioner. And when everybody kept saying, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!" and the executioner raised up his axe about ready to chop his head off, and then all of a sudden, the device with the Zeta beam teleported him out of the executioner and in another part of the ship where She-Ra is at. And She-Ra wants to get some information about why he's so infatuated with Rann. It's his home and everything. And he wants to go back there so he can go back to his wife. And he went back to, and of course she gave him his armor, so he got suit up, and found this device that could create the Omega beam that pretty much would help him go to Rann. So he starts checking that device that creates the Omega beam, and then he starts meeting a group of other characters, which it is the Omega Men. You know, the Omega Men that I reviewed not too long ago. The Omega Men are like, I mean, I mentioned this before. The Omega Men are the DC version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But, of course, in the Omega Man, I mean, he meets these, and of course, the Omega Man is, this time, this team of Omega Men is led by Tigger. You know, the tiger-like alien who is now the leader of the group. I guess the other guy from my last review couldn't make it. And then Harpus decided to start to attack Adam Strange. But of course he outsmart her until Tiger stopped the fight and told Adam what they are. They're a group of good rebels who calls himself the Omega Man, who's supposed to bring goodness in the world when things are very crooked in the galaxy. And it turns out that She-Ra was helping Adam Strange to get the Omega Beam going because turns out she's planning to use the Omega Beam to resurrect a certain villain that pretty much got my surprise at who is in this book. Starbreaker. Now, for those of you who don't know who Starbreaker is, Starbreaker, he's an alien vampire. I kid you not, there are vampires in space in the DC universe. And Starbreaker, he's like the Dracula in space. Although there's one thing that kind of bugs me. How come there isn't Ashel Sabin from Manta? Ashel for short. And for those of you who don't know who Ashel is, he's like the Van Helsing. He's like an alien Van Helsing who joins the Green Lantern Corps. And he's an arch nemesis to Starbreaker. Why they don't have that character in this comic? At least he should be there to help Adam deal against Starbreaker, since he is an evil alien vampire. And of course, he's planning to use the Omega Beam to bring back his power and his vampiric energy. And She-Ra is helping him go back into his strength. While at the same time, Adam gets all patched up by one of the with one of the Omega Men, which is Doc, the robot medic. He was patching him up, making sure that he's doing okay. So now Adam got back into his suit, and he was checking the Omega beam device, and he's trying to help out Tigger, along with Arton, one of the members of the Omega Men, to try to get the Omega beam going, and then, bam, the Omega beam had started, and it started working. And then all of a sudden, something from the Omega beam showed up right in front of Doc, and it's one of these Lovecraftian creature just attacked the Doc. Wow. It just keeps getting better and better. Anyway, the Omega beam had started, and it started to get powerful. Even Tigger saying, Omega beam, Omega effect, Omega man. Anyone else just get goosebumps? Adam Strange is checking out the device and any details to see if there's any malfunction or any problem, but everything is going pretty smoothly. And then that's when the spider grid showed up. They showed up, and they're aiming towards the Omega beam, and they're trying to use it for their purpose. So now the Omega Man has to take down the spider grid. And there's a huge battle with the Omega Man and the spider grid. I hate spiders, and I would hate to meet alien spiders. They would freak me out. Anyway, the Omega Man had to regroup along with Adam Strange and try to take down some of these spider grids who kept trying to destroy, until they finally made their escape on their Omega ship. And they destroyed some of the spider grid's ship. And then they had to go to a planet, and the planet is called Multus. And believe it or not, the planet Multus is... Now, the planet Multus... Now, I did say that the Green Lantern are like the police officers in space, but it turns out there was another group of police officers who calls himself the Legion. And believe it or not, the Legions are initials. It stands for License Extra Governmental Interstellar Operation Network. And they are led by none other than Vreldax. Now, for those of you who don't know who Vreldax is, he is Brainiac's negenic clone, so he's not as evil as the original Brainiac. But he's from the same planet as Brainiac is from, Carlu. So, Brainiac noticed that a group of Omega Men are coming to his planet. Now, according to the comic, it turns out the Omega Men are still wanted in their planet. They're still declaring them as a bunch of fugitive, and now they put Adam Strange in the wanted poster along with the Omega Men. So now Adam and the Omega Man are trying not to get that much attention while they're trying to find some devices here in order for them to continue on, get the Omega Beam back and running. And then all of a sudden, one of the ship was going after Adam, so he tackled the ship, saying, "Eject, you fool! Open up!" And of course, that hovering device, that one hovering ship, was about ready to crash. So he saved the person who was in it, and it crashed, but it didn't hurt anybody. But when he removed the helmet, it turned out it was Zardath, his father-in-law. He was wondering, what the hell is he doing in this planet? While at the same time, the legions are trying to investigate that crash from one of their hovering pods, and they thought they're going to get the rest of the team of the legions after the Omega Man and Adam Strange, but Reldox, he wants Adam Strange by himself. So they tell Zardath what is he doing, and he found a certain device that would have been the missing piece in order to create a better Zeta beam that can teleport at will without going around at random. And he found a missing piece that the device needed. So he put the piece together, and it worked. And then all of a sudden, Doc pointed the laser right behind Adam Strange. And everybody's wondering what the hell's wrong with Doc. Why the hell is Doc pointing a laser beam at Adam Strange? So Zardath attacked Doc, and he accidentally shot him in the shoulder, while Adam called him a murderer and started punching Doc, until all of a sudden they started to notice that Doc was changing into one of these Lovecraftian creatures. I mean, something, I gotta say, it's something out of H.P. Lovecraft here. I mean, look at this guy. How creepy is that? And of course, this creature swallowed Adam Strange, but he blasted through his stomach. And some of the members who got swallowed got out of his stomach. I mean, they all escaped from him. And they all made a break for it away from that monster. So they grabbed the Zeta beam and it teleported them somewhere else. And of course they found their Omega ship and about ready to take a leave until the robot troops of the Legion showed up. And they were all surrounded. And there goes Freldak. Meanwhile, She-Ra, the hot girl, the evil hot girl, she was checking on Starbreaker. Right now, he's been instead of sucking blood, he's sucking energy out of other people as food substance to him to try to get his strength back. And he also got mad at her because the Zeta beam was destroyed by those spider grid. And they're hoping that they will make a new one and one more powerful so he could absorb the power and become more like a vampiric god. A cosmic vampiric god. But anyway, Frail Doc talked to Tigar, and all of a sudden Adam Strange showed up and had to talk to Frail Doc. Frail Doc is about ready to arrest all of them, but they start trying to make it clear to Frail Doc that they're not bad guys. They're trying to do something good and trying to get the peace so he can use a Zeta beam so he can go back to his wife on the planet Rann. And of course, Brainiac was speechless, and even Tigar said, "What's up, Docs? Cat got your tongue?" And anyway, now Adam grabbed the device, and it started to work, and when the troops were about ready to fire their guns at them, Frail Doc says, "Hold your fire!" And when the device was about ready to start the Zeta beam, two of the members of the Omega men grabbed onto Adam, and even Frail Doc says, "I knew it, but you didn't get away that easily, Earthman." So he grabbed onto Adam, and he got teleported along with them. They finally ended up in the planet Rann. Tigger got really pissed that Frail Doc had to grab Adam, and Frail Dax was about ready to aim his his lasers right at Adam, and then all of a sudden, he got shot in the back by a stun gun. And when Adam wanted to know who shot him in the back to stun him, it was his wife, Elena. She saved his life. So now he wakes up, he's in the planet Rann, and there's his wife, Elena. Feels good to him to go back home with his beloved wife. And of course his daughter showed up as well, and she was so happy to see his dad once again. Of course, one thing does worry him. He heard that the planet Rann's going to go supernova, and they need to find a way to try to stop it. So he needs to have a talk to his dad, while at the same time, Vreldoc and Tigar, they're both, the Omega Man is wanted by the Legion, and Vreldoc is the member of the Legion. But I think it's time to them to settle their differences and try to start working together because there's a greater threat going on. And of course, bam, Zondarth, he starts telling everybody about what's going on recently. Turns out that there's a vampire who goes by the name of Starbreaker, and he's trying to use the Omega Beam to become more powerful. And when he gets more powerful, that's when Planet Rann's it's going to get destroyed by the supernova. So now, Starbreaker is trying to get the power in order to become very powerful. Golly. Anyway, two of the bad guys who are the Spider Grid, they notice about a new device that's going to create another Omega Beam. So they need to figure out a plan in order to stop it. And all of a sudden, there's that the Thangar ship, the one that Adam Strange ended up in. They showed up in the planet Rann, about ready to create problems. So out comes Starbreaker walking towards their sun and into the device where it's going to create the Omega effect. So now, Adam, two of the members of the Omega Man, and Vreldoc decided to figure out a way to stop Starbreaker. But of course it turns out Starbreaker is going after one of the sun in order to create the supernova by forming an Omega Beam out of it. So, as usual, time for all of them to suit up and ready to kick some ass. And of course Adam Strange tells his wife he loves her, and she said always, and they both kissed. So they got suited up in their Rann's armor. And they, along with the Rannians, and they all flew out into space, ready to take down some of their Thangars in order to get to Starbreaker. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, out comes She-Ra. Now, Starbreaker absorbing the power from the sun, and he's about ready to destroy Planet Rann. While the members of the Omega Men are still battling against the Thangars. They're just going through battle, and then all of a sudden, bam, the Legion Assault Fleet showed up, and they decided to show up and help since they got the message from Vreldoc. He told the Legions what kind of big trouble they're going through, and there's even the Omega ship showing up along with the other, with the Legion Assault Fleet. And of course, Vreldoc decided to send another team of authorities And the team of authorities call themselves Dark Stars. They are an elite galactic. I mean, they're kind of like the SWAT team in space. And they're all led by none other than Farron Carlos. That's his name. And they all came in to help in order to stop Starbreaker. While at the same time, Adam decided to destroy their Thangar ship in order to make it, in order to even the odds. And they destroyed their Thangar ship while he teleported. Anyway, She-Ra, her and her two Thangar's army grabbed Sardath and Lyanna and about ready to kill them, but Adam showed up and saved their lives. And of course, there's a huge fight, and then all of a sudden, wow, meanwhile, some of the Dark Star member was trying to take down Starbreaker. And all of a sudden, when she was about ready to try to help Starbreaker get Supernova, Lyanna stopped her by shooting her in the back. Meanwhile, some of the other troops, like the Dark Star, they're trying to obtain Starbreaker, but he's way too powerful to be destroyed, so they need help with the others. So, Adam kissed Lyanna and even tried to reverse the polarity of the power in order to weaken him through the star. And then the Omega team and everybody pitched in and finally got rid of Starbreaker. Now, Planet Rann is safe once again. And of course, that is the end of Adam Strange Planet Heist. And of course, left a bit of a cliffhanger, which lead to another comic book, which is called Rann-Thanager War, where it's going to get involved with the Hawkman and Hawkgirl and Adam Strange, and there's a war between the people from Rann and the Thangars. Which I don't have the book of it, and I wish it was in this book, but it's not. But Planet Heist was one of the most brilliant and pretty awesome comic, I gotta say. I mean, that is my verdict about it. And I always loved the look of Adam Strange in that comic. I just wish that look should have stayed. I mean, right now they changed his look again from New 52, which I really didn't like the New 52 look. Although I didn't like anything that involved New 52 because I thought that was a stupid reboot they'd done. And then when Rebirth started, they did a brand new comic called Strange Adventures, the rebirth of Adam Strange. And they just put him in the back of the old classic look. I wish his look would be more like this because I like this look. I mean, I love that look of Adam Strange better than the classic look. But this is my review for the day. If any of you like this review of Adam Strange Planet Heist, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more, and I'm the multi-voice reviewer. I remember so I can jog your memory.